Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Entrepreneur. Welcome to my vlog and media channel, and today we're going to be looking at a series of DVDs that are half fairly common to find and half very rare. But I kid you not, this is one of my favorite shows of all time, whether it be English, Japanese, animation, live action, although I do recommend if you should watch the show, watch it in Japanese, and that is Maison Ikkoku by Rumiko Takahashi. Now this is a good one. This is a good one. It's about a college student who falls in love with his apartment complex manager, and that doesn't sound like it's going to be a very good show, but trust me, it ends up being very, very good. Now, interesting thing about the history of this show in America is that something tells me someone over at Viz, the company that would license this show, must have really, really enjoyed this one. Because this company brought it over twice and lost money on it both times. Originally, when they were bringing it over, they were releasing the series on VHS tape, 2 episodes per tape, whether it be subbed or dubbed, and they were also releasing the manga in 32-page comic book form. And in both scenarios, it didn't do very well. They totally took a bath on it, and I think they ended at episode 39 at that point. Well, fast forward several years later, Ram and a Half did end up becoming a big hit. Inuyasha was the hottest anime at the time, so Viz realized, hey, Takahashi, she's a name right now, so let's give Maison Ikkoku another chance. And they got as much of the old dub cast back, a couple new voice actors they redubbed that character's lines, they dubbed it to the end, and they released it on DVD again. And the results weren't a whole lot better. In fact, they lost more money on the second release. However, thankfully they did get to the end, and now we're going to talk about all the releases. So what they did was, instead of putting like DVDs out of like 3 or 4 episodes, which was common at the time, they released the show in 13 episode season box sets, 8 of them altogether. Which, the funny thing is, back then I remember hating that because, I was young and I was poor, and I wanted to spend $20 on a DVD, not, $40 or $35, which is what you would pay for this if it was on sale. And of course, young me has a hard time realizing, but you're getting so much more for that buck. And for that matter, this is a much better show. And these DVDs are all out of print, and some of them are rare. A couple of them are actually very, very rare, and we'll touch upon that. And I figured, this series has. Let's kind of look over the set, and let's look at the disc, because not a lot of people have seen the whole thing. So this is the first season, or the first collection. I'm going to call them by season just because it's easier. Now, all of them have this picture on the side of the apartment complex and the apartment complex in the back. If you are a completionist like me, you'll have this little surrounding piece of paper, but most people don't keep it anymore. And each DVD had an original screenshot of the show. Now, they also all had a disc of the Maison Ikkoku clock, but every single disc is the same, except the color matches with the DVD, so we won't be looking at that. And so, on Season 1, Disc 1, you have Kyoko right there. These are going to be hard to stand up, but we'll make do. And then you have Disc 2. Here, I'll open a couple of them just to give it some room to stand. And you have Disc 3. Now, Season 1, very common. For that, this Volume 2 is actually the most common DVD you will find. Again, not much to see on the back, but on the front, have another picture of Kyoko. So, you open this, and on Disc 1, we have the cast doing a puppet show, because I think they did a puppet show in that one of those episodes. Have this really wonderful shot of Godai and Kyoko in the winter. And then you have Kyoko surrounded by dog and a cat. So that's season 2. And season 3, still a fairly common DVD, but we're getting close to where the rare ones are going to start. And, well, let's look at this. So, this is DVD 1, first one without Godai or Ikkoku on the cover. Have disc 2, like a festival episode, I believe. And disc 3, which was when Godai finally took on a student. She ended up falling madly in love with him, but, well, I won't spoil anything. You can probably figure out that doesn't really go anywhere. And so there you have the first 3 seasons. And then we get to our last common. Now this isn't super common. You're still going to pay about $40, $50 for this, even if it's used. But it's not exactly difficult to find. It's, it's just a little bit more expensive than the rest. So, bring that over here. And disc 1 is right there. And you have disc 2. Another one without Ikkoku or Godai. And you have disc 3. By the way, I don't know if I forgot to mention, but it showed like all the episodes on the back, and every DVD advertises the manga. Like, in fact, I think the manga advertising was something that came along at a later date because the TV show wasn't doing very well, so they were doing what they could to make money off this property. The manga, from what I understand, was reasonably successful. Now then, we're going to get to our first rare DVD. This is season 5. And this, believe it or not, will set you back a few $100s. I'm not even kidding. This will set you back a few $100s. I don't know why this got super rare when the next 2 are rare, to be sure, but do not cost what this cost. We'll kind of start a new line over here because I'm running out of room here. But we have the first disc right here, Ikkoku. Although now that I look at some of the episodes on the back, I think I'm understanding why this one was so popular. Because this one, a lot of really emotional episodes take place. A lot of really important episodes as well. So anyway, that's season 5. Again, that will set you back a few $100s. Now, once you get to season 6, again, also rare, not quite as rare. This will set you back 150 in most cases. So, I don't know. Again, I don't know why the next couple were not as rare, but there you have it. So, for all of you out there, you don't actually see skin in the episode, like not really, but there, you have that. And the baseball episode, by the way, the baseball episode is the one episode of this show that you can completely skip, will not lose anything on that one. And we have a beach episode. Rumiko Takahashi, I must love the beach because the beach plays a big role in almost every series she does. Now we get to 7. This one, believe it or not, will only set you back about $100, $125, depending on the condition and depending on where you buy it from. I don't know why this one isn't as expensive, but for those who are collecting, definitely not a terrible thing. Oops, they're starting to fall down a little. So, okay, so we have this cover. That's Godai's rival and all of this. And we have this, and again, this is not as scandalous as it looks. In fact, Maison Ikkoku is, I wouldn't say a family-friendly show, but it's definitely in good taste. And we have that one. So there, what you see here, this is we have about, 20, 10, 25, 40, 300, 150, 99. You know, we have that's more or less the value, the money you're looking at that's on this table right now. But the big one, the super big one, and I'm gonna move this back just a little bit so that we can look at it better, is this. The final, in fact, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take it up here because this one is really on the top of the list. This item, if you are a Maison Ikkoku fan, if you are even an anime DVD collector, you might be looking at this with great, great envy, because this is the holy grail of Rumiko Takahashi DVDs. This DVD, I swear to God, I have seen this thing sell for up to $2,000. I kid you not. I was bidding on one, and the price got as high as $850. Every time I see one of these on eBay, I always bid $300. And yes, I admit I do it because I want to hawk it later on and maybe make some money. And it's always a futile effort because I always get outbid. Every single time I get outbid on this thing. So this, and the reason for this is I've actually forgot to mention a very important thing. The first 4 seasons in the back were all sent to general retailers, Amazon, Best Buy, whoever, Sam Goody, Suncoast, whoever was selling anime, they got them. Afterwards, they made a deal with Right Stuff International, and so season 5 and onward were exclusive to that site. And I think one of the reasons this became especially expensive is because even as an exclusive, it wasn't justifying the cost of making a lot of sets. And so by the time this thing came along, they basically just made a very few amount of sets, and it took years for it to sell out. They didn't make that many, but it took a couple of years for it to sell out. Now, the funny story about how I came into my copy, I bought, at one point, Right Stuff fire saled all of these. I think I had bought the first couple seasons at regular price, and then I just didn't have the money. But then I started watching them, and I got really, really into the show. And I bought season 3, watched that, and then when I went to go buy season 4, Right Stuff was fire selling all of these. So I ended up buying the rest of them, except season 8. Season 8 had already been sold out. I think that was like the one season they didn't have to fire sale because they had so few copies at the end of the day. And I remember getting all the way to the final disc on 7, and I went on eBay to get this. And every single time I tried to get it, it went over $200. And I didn't have that much money, not for a show. So I did a Google search, and I remember going to every online store. And I finally got to a random store in Texas that was on page 12 of the Google search. They had it, and the listing, I sent them an email, hey, because it was a funky way on how you ordered it. I said, do you still have this? Like, we've got one more copy. Do you want it? I said, yes, and I got it for $50. Brand new. That was the retail price. And they sent it to me in 4 days. It was legit. I watched it, and I remember, like, very few anime endings are as good as this ending. Like, Rumiko Takahashi has a problem with ending series. Usually her endings are not very good. Her ending to Ranma Half is pretty anticlimactic. Her ending to Inuyasha is a little better. But Maison Ikkoku is the one that you're going to tear up on when that thing ends. And so this has been a prized collector's item. And I love this show